There's a certain kind of attraction that younger avoidant men rarely admit to, their pull toward older women. It's not just about looks or life stage. It's deeper. It's about how she makes him feel in ways he can't explain. Younger avoidant men, those who fear intimacy but still want connection, often find older women both magnetic and intimidating. She has presence. She has experience. She doesn't play the games he's used to. Carl Jung would say this is an encounter between two archetypes, the avoidant man's undeveloped self and the older woman's grounded, fully formed self. It's a meeting that can trigger growth but also fear. He won't tell anyone about it. He might even pretend he's not interested. But inside it stays with him. Here are 8 things that happen when a younger avoidant man secretly craves an older woman. Her presence throws him off. The first thing he notices is how different she feels compared to other women his age. She's grounded. She's not chasing him or competing for attention. This unsettles him because he's used to relationships where he controls the pace and emotional depth. With her, he can't hide behind his usual patterns. She seems to see through him without him having to say a word. On the surface, he might seem calm or even distant, but inside, he's wondering why her presence feels so powerful. She becomes a mirror. Older women often act as a mirror for avoidant men, reflecting both their strengths and their insecurities. When he's around her, he sees the man he could become, but also the parts of himself he's been avoiding, his emotional immaturity, his fear of commitment, his lack of self-knowledge. It's both inspiring and uncomfortable. Jung would call this meeting the shadow, facing parts of ourselves we usually keep hidden. He may downplay his interest or joke about the age gap, but internally, he's wrestling with what she's showing him. He feels an unfamiliar kind of safety. Avoidant men are not used to feeling safe in relationships. Safety usually comes from keeping distance. But with her, safety feels different. She accepts him without needing him to constantly perform or prove himself. Her life is already full. She's not looking for someone to complete her, she's looking for someone to connect with. That's disarming for him. It creates a craving for her presence that slips past his defenses before he realizes it. He's drawn to her pace. Avoidant men often rush in and then pull away. But older women usually move at a steady, unhurried pace. She doesn't flood him with texts or demand constant attention. She's not afraid of silence because she's comfortable in her own company. And in those quiet moments, he feels a pull toward her he can't fully understand. She's not chasing, but she's not cold either. She's simply present, living her life without waiting on his next move. It's not a strategy, it's just how she lives. But for him, it's different enough to make him question his own patterns. He wonders why she doesn't try to win him back or push for more. And that mystery makes her harder to forget. Because unlike others, she's not playing the game, she's rewriting it. She sees through his defenses. Avoidant men survive by letting people see only part of who they are. They share enough to keep someone interested, but never enough to be truly known. It's their way of feeling in control, keeping the most vulnerable parts hidden. But she doesn't play along with that. She notices when he's pulling away. She picks up on the half-answers, the subject changes, the way his eyes shift when the conversation gets too real. And she calls it out, not to attack him, but because she's not afraid of honesty. This creates conflict in him. Part of him wants to run, to retreat into the safety of distance. Part of him wants to stay, to see what it might feel like to be truly understood. To have someone meet the parts of himself he's kept locked away, and not turn away. That possibility terrifies him almost as much as it draws him in. He struggles between ego and desire. This is where his inner battle intensifies. His ego says, "She's too independent. She doesn't need me. This won't work." But his deeper desire says, "She's exactly what I need to grow." It's a clash between comfort and challenge. One part of him craves the ease of relationships where he can stay in control, untested and unbothered. So he might distract himself by dating younger women who fit neatly into his comfort zone. They may be easier to impress, less likely to push him toward emotional growth. But the truth lingers. Those connections feel shallow compared to what he felt with her. The conversations don't stretch his mind in the same way. The attraction doesn't have the same pull. Once he's experienced that level of depth, it's almost impossible to be satisfied with less. It plants a quiet restlessness in him that no casual fling can erase. He starts to fear losing her. He might act indifferent, but the idea of her walking away sparks quiet panic. It's not the panic of losing control. It's the panic of losing someone who made him feel safe without him having to hide. Someone who saw through the walls and didn't run. He may send a casual text, offer to help with something, or ask about her day. Sometimes it's a comment on social media. Other times it's a random memory he brings up just to start a conversation. Little signs that he's not as detached as he appears. These are cracks in the armor, even if he doesn't fully realize it. They're his subconscious trying to keep the connection alive without having to admit vulnerability. Every small reach out is a test. Will she still respond? Will she still care? And while he pretends these gestures mean nothing, deep down, they mean everything. Regret creeps in. If he lets fear win and creates too much distance, there comes a point when regret sets in. It doesn't arrive dramatically. It comes in small flashes, remembering her laugh, the way she listened without judgment, the comfort of being around her. Regret can be a powerful teacher. It reminds him that not all connections are equal and that he let something rare slip away. By the time he fully understands what she meant to him, she may have moved on, not out of spite, but because she values herself enough not to wait. The attraction between a younger avoidant man and an older woman is not just about romance, it's about growth. She represents what Jung would call a path toward individuation, becoming a fuller, more authentic version of oneself. For him, she is proof that a relationship can be both safe and challenging. She can stir desire while also demanding honesty. She can awaken parts of him that have been dormant for years. He may never admit it out loud. He may never tell her what she meant to him, but the truth is, she showed him a different way of relating, a way that could transform him if he's willing to face it. Whether he crosses that threshold or not is his choice. But one thing is certain, he won't forget her.